I was renting a property in Northern California a few years ago. The area was just outside the suburbs. It seems to be the ideal blend of room and good neighbors, close enough to avoid feeling secluded. Because there were no streetlights in the region, it was exceedingly dark at night, especially if the moonlight was blocked by clouds. But it didn't worry me. On dark nights, it made my small house feel even scarier. In the middle of winter, I came home from work. Because it was a gloomy night, I could only see what my headlights and front porch illuminated as I approached my house. I noticed a whiff of cigarette smoke when I got out of my car. That was strange because I had never smelled anything like it before in that house. I disregarded it because I didn't see anyone nearby and went inside. I just finished a shift with a couple hours of overtime and was exhausted. I decided to take a shower and call it a night, even though it wasn't even 7 o'clock yet. I awoke later, certain that I had heard something inside my house. I wasn't concerned straight away because my friend would occasionally drop by after work to take a shower en route to his night classes. I even provided him a spare key so that he could come over even if I wasn't at home. However, he would always text to let me know ahead of time, and I hadn't heard my phone ring. I reached over to my bedside table and took out my phone to see whether my friend had texted me, but there was none. I put down my phone and called my friend's name. There was a brief moment of silence until I heard thundering footfalls as someone dashed through the basement of my house. I jumped from my bed and dashed to the closet. By the time I opened the door and stepped inside, they were already on their way up the stairs. Someone in my house screamed down the hall past my door and into the bathroom. That gave me enough time to open the attic door in my closet ceiling and pull myself up. When the person ran back out of the bathroom, I was just starting to lift myself up. When my bedroom door burst open, I was barely inside the attic. I heard footsteps into my room and then come to a halt. That person switched on the light. The closet door was pulled open seconds later. I was hunkered in the attic about a foot from the access, ready to intervene if they attempted to climb up. The man in my house ran back down the stairs after a few seconds of glancing in the closet. As objects were flung around and furniture was pushed over, I heard crashes and clatters. I stayed in the attic, hunched. The noises stopped after a while. I began counting to 1,000 and then concluded it was safe to descend and contact the cops. I couldn't find my cell phone, so I dialed 911 from the landline next to the bed. I stayed in my room till they called from downstairs. The only thing missing, as far as I could discover, was a solitary knife from my kitchen's wooden block. The house was searched from top to bottom by the cops. They discovered that the side door had been wrenched open with a crowbar. They also discovered a few cigarette butts along my fence line, leading them to believe he had been keeping an eye on my home for some time. When I returned home, I realized he must have been out there smoking a cigarette. They gathered the evidence and suggested that I spend the night with family or friends and have the door replaced as soon as possible. I decided not to sleep. I shifted a shelf to the other side of the damaged door and spent the next few hours cleaning. I would regularly take a flashlight to the window and shine it along the fence line where the cops discovered the cigarette butts, but I never saw anything. I contacted the next day to have the door repaired and motion lights installed on the back and sides of my home. I installed a landline by running a phone cable up into the attic. I vowed to myself that I would never be caught up there without a phone again. But nothing else has happened in that house. I stayed another 3 years there without incident. That was the most terrifying experience of my life.
Did I mess up by buying my 2-year-old daughter a Peppa the Pig piñata for her birthday? This well-meaning gesture turned into tragedy happened today. Like many toddlers, my kid loves that horrible little creature called Peppa. While I was shopping for birthday supplies this week, I saw a Peppa piñata and instantly thought 2 things. The kid is going to love this, and I'm going to love seeing Peppa get deleted with a stick. She saw it a couple of times during the week, and each time she was like, "Peppa, hi Peppa, that's Peppa." So I knew without a shadow of doubt I had made the right choice. Cue the main event. In one corner, we have Peppa, and in the other corner, we have 15 older kids jacked up on cupcakes and soda. They don't care about Peppa, they only care about getting their necks fixed, and they know that fix is inside the paper piglet. My wife is holding up my daughter, and I'm standing beside them. The first kid steps up, and the adults are cheering, and the kids are hyped. 3 swings and 3 misses. The families are laughing and cheering as the next kid steps up. First swing, miss. No issues yet. Second swing, some light contact is made, and this is where it goes downhill. I look over and see visible concern on my daughter's face. Third swing, contact. Full on twack. The parents cheer, and the kids are now at a near fever pitch of excitement. Except for one. The one whose birthday we're here to celebrate. She bursts into tears, and I look at my wife in that moment, and we both realize we fucked up. She's 2. She doesn't know what the heck a piñata is. This is her first time seeing one. What she is seeing is her favorite cartoon character getting beat down by her cousins. Babe, maybe you should take her inside. I don't think this is going to end the way we thought it was going to. Yeah, you're right. That should be the end of the story, right? A lesson learned on what not to do next time. Nope. My wife needed to use the bathroom, so my daughter was wandering around the living room. My mom, who was in the upstairs bathroom, comes downstairs and saw my daughter and the excitement going on outside and scooped her up and brought her back outside. I'm on the other side of the yard as I see my mom come out with my daughter and I start walking towards them. Too late. She stops at the end of the deck, giving my daughter an unobstructed view of what happened next. The kill shot. One of the older kids let loose a thunderous haymaker and explodes Peppa. The parents cheer and the kids lose their mind. They're fighting each other for candy over the corpse of Peppa. My kid unfortunately lost her goddamn mind. Full on ugly cry while muttering, "Peppa, Peppa, Peppa," in between sobs. Thankfully, kids that age have short memories, but it took her a good 45 minutes to fully settle down from watching the murder of her beloved Peppa.
Am I the asshole for not apologizing when my husband dipped his balls into my poop water?
Into my poop water? Is that what you just said?
Yes. This all happened last night around 1 a.m. I had just finished nursing our baby and was getting ready for bed. My husband was finishing up some work and was doing the same. After I went pee, I was brushing my teeth when my husband walked in. He proceeded to sit on the toilet to poop and immediately starts screaming and jumps up. Apparently the toilet had backed up to the brim, and when he sat down, his balls dipped into the poop-filled bowl. He jumps up and starts stripping down, yelling the whole time. I'm actually about to die laughing so hard with a toothbrush in my mouth, but I rally and get to work plunging the toilet as he continues to yell. I apologize by saying, "I'm so sorry that this happened to you. It's disgusting and this sucks." Now, our house has a finicky toilet, and we do get backups fairly frequently, about once a week. That's so often.
You gotta get that checked out.
My husband always blames me, which may have some merit since I do use toilet paper for all my business, while he only uses it for 50% of his. For some additional context, I had had a number 2 in that afternoon, and I had used the toilet several times before the ball dip occurred. So after a very long day, he had to take a shower at 1 a.m. and was irritated with me. He felt that, 1, my apology was not sincere, 2, I did not take ownership of being the cause of the backup and subsequently the ball dip, and 3, I should have watched the toilet flush fully to make sure that all was well. Insane. No one should be watching the toilet flush. You flush and you shut the lid.
If it clogs once a week, if there's a known history of it clogging, I'm gonna watch that shit.
I felt that my apology was enough. I validated his feelings, and I did genuinely feel bad that it happened. However, I consider this an act of God, for which I am not responsible. Additionally, I don't think it is my responsibility to monitor the toilet after I used it. It's the next user's responsibility to look where they're sitting.
That's very important.
Agree.
Like,
that
he
is
needed
my
to
argument
look before
exactly.
he sits.
Paranormal Hospital Stories. This story was sent by a hospital security officer in Northern California. One night he received a call from housekeeping staff who said they could see an elderly female patient in a hospital gown standing outside. By the time he arrived, she was gone. He went throughout the entire hospital with the description the housekeeping staff had given him. After talking to every department, no one recognized the patient. He also realized, according to the hospital records, there were no female patients in the hospital at that time. He looked at cameras and saw housekeeping looking and pointing in the direction where they said the patient was. But in the video there was nothing there. Oddly enough, while housekeeping was looking at that area, a motion light suddenly turned on.
Online dating is dangerous? Storytime. My friend Eli loves to online date, and he trusts people a little bit too much, so he'll meet whoever. And this last time he met up with somebody, things got a little crazy. So a couple of days ago, Eli started talking to this boy, and we're gonna name him Demetrius. And they only talked for a couple of minutes, but apparently the conversation was so good that they decided to meet up at 2:30 a.m. First of all, who is meeting somebody at 2:30 a.m.? Not me. So Eli drives over to the boy's house, and the whole time he feels like he's being set up, but he doesn't know why. So he figured it was just him being nervous, and he continues to go to the boy's house. And when he gets there, there's 2 cars parked out front of the house, and there seems to be people inside of them. And Eli couldn't tell for sure, but it looked like the people were watching him. But he tries to ignore it anyway. So he meets Demetrius at the front door, and they go inside. Now once he got inside, he felt really comfortable, and Demetrius seemed really nice in person. But after they got done doing what they had to do, Demetrius left the room to get something to drink. But when he came back, he had a knife in his hand. Full story on YouTube.